Hello everyone and welcome to Intellipaat. In this video we will learn the basics of Git and get to know the 5 most important commands and their implementation. Git is a version control system originally developed by Linus Torvalds. And yes, you guessed it right, he is the creator of the Linux kernel. Therefore, Git is more adapted to the Linux environments. And even if you're not familiar with the Linux environment, you can use the Git bash shell on the Windows platform. There are also other remote repositories like GitHub, Bitbucket and GitLabs, which have a graphical user interface which is more suitable for beginners. Now that you know the essence of this video, without any further ado, let us begin with the video.
But before we begin the session, make sure to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so that you'll never miss any update from us.
Let us take a look at the agenda for today's video. Firstly, I'll be introducing what Git is. And next we will take a look at the 5 most important commands, which are Git Init, Git Status, Git Add, Git Commit and finally Git Merge. Now let us see some introduction facts about Git. Git was created by Linus Torvalds in 2005 and it is the most popular version control system. He was also the original developer of the Linux OS. So what do you mean by version control system? Let's say you are working on an essay and you make changes to that essay. Let's say you are given 1 week for the assignment, and that is to write your essay. And let's say on day 1 you come up with a rough outline of your essay and you name it as version 1, essay version 1, 1.0 or whatever you want to name it. Let's say you name it essay 1.0. And then on the next day you research some more articles and then you add in some extra sentences, paragraphs, whatever, and you name it as version 2.0 on the second day. And this follows until the last day, and you basically will have 7 versions of your essay. And 7th version is your final essay, which you will be providing to your university. So the same concept follows in the developer community as well. So developers, what they like to do is they constantly change their code on the source code. Let's say they're developing an application and they want to come up with an update. The users are not satisfied with the current version of the application and they want to come up with new features. So they will have to add in new lines of code and it will have many versions. And to control all these versions, to manage all these versions, there is a system called as a version control system. So this is what VCS or version control system means. And as we all know, Linus Torvald is the original developer of the Linux operating system or the Linux kernel, and he created Git as well. So you can say that Git is more adapted to the Linux environment. Now let us see what it is used for. It is mainly used for code collaboration. That is, its main use case is for code collaboration. Although you can use it for other purposes as well, you can also include, let's say, text files in that project or a directory. And you can even include other files like a paint file, let's say. You can also do that. But the main use case of it is for code collaboration, and that is how everyone uses this. Developers from all around the world can contribute to a project using this system. That is, you can be at anywhere in any country and you can contribute to a project. You can also track changes to your codes. That is, there'll be a timeline of your source code. Let's say you started off with your source code, that is your project, a year back, and you make, let's say, every month you make one change, and therefore there'll be 12 changes to your code base, and it can track every change, all the 12 changes to your code base. That is what tracking means. The official website for Git is git-sem.com. Here is where you can download Git. SEM basically stands for source code management, and it is not to be confused with supply chain management. And that is why I think they have changed it to VCS instead of SCM. But basically, VCS and SCM mean the same thing. Developers all around the world basically mention to this system as a version control system rather than SCM. And one more thing to note here is that since Linus Torvalds developed this Git system originally, he basically meant it for the Linux environment, that is, flavors of Linux operating system, let it be Ubuntu or Debian, Kali Linux, whatever flavor in the Linux environment, he originally made it for them. So therefore, Linux operating system by default comes with the Git management system, and even Mac users have it installed by default. But coming to Windows, you will have to install a middleware, which is basically a shell. It is called as Git Bash. You can download it from the git-sem.com website if you are a Windows user, and just download the shell, and then you can start using it in Windows operating system. I will show you how to do that in a moment. Before Git was developed, programmers used to work with another software called as SVN. It stands for Subversion, and it was basically developed by Apache. It is a product of Apache. As you guys know, that Apache is basically a gigantic software producing company. So they are in charge of Subversion. But it has lost popularity nowadays because of Git. Everyone has shifted to Git, and I will talk about the reason why they did that. SVN is a centralized version control system that stores all of the source code in a centralized server. That is, there'll be a centralized server, one particular server which is managed by a company or some body. They will manage it, and all the code base, all the information, all the metadata will be stored on that centralized server, and everyone has to access it from that server. Basically, you'll have to request the data, and then they will serve your requests. Although centralized structure was not the primary reason for its decline, here centralized structure has a drawback, which is that, let's say, if by any environmental factors, fire, water, electricity outburst, whatever, let's say the centralized server gets hit and all your data is in that server, and let's say it goes down for 2 to 3 days for maintenance, and no one will be able to work on that server. No one will be able to collaborate. No developers will be able to collaborate on that project. So this is one of the drawback of centralized VCS. But you can still have workarounds around the centralized VCS. You can basically duplicate your data and keep it in another centralized server, let's say a backup server. And this was not the primary reason for its decline. It was the features that it offered. So basically, Subversion did not offer many features as Git did. And that is why it lost its popularity, and Git is the most popular version control system right now. On the other hand, Git is a distributed version control system, DVCS for short, is a type of version control where the complete code base or the database, whatever you want to store it, including its full version history, that is, its timeline, all the commits that you did, is mirrored on every developer's computer. That is, everyone will be having this data on their computers. So even if the server fails, you can take it or fork it or clone it into your. Fork or clone is just a fancy word for copying the code base from another user. So you can do that in case the server fails. Alright, before we move on to the first command, let me show you guys how to install Git. Alright, you will have to go to the following URL, git-sem.com, and then you need to locate the downloads icon, and then you can download it for whatever operating system you are using, but I will be showing how to do it on Windows. And here you can download it for Windows by clicking at this button. It will take you to another page which will basically ask you what type of operating system you have. Is it a 32-bit for 64-bit? Just follow the instructions. It is very intuitive, and you can download Git Bash from here. And it basically, after you click this link, it will download a .exe file, an executable file, and just press OK and select all the default options in the installer, Git Bash installer. Click OK, click I agree, and then after download, so you will have three softwares, which is basically Git Bash, Git GUI, and the Git CMD, which is a command line kernel, and Git CMD, which is a basically a terminal. So you will need to open Git Bash. So it will look, the terminal will look something like this. This is the logo of Git, and basically you will be directed to a prompt. And before we move ahead, I want to talk about a few basic Linux commands. The first one is pwd, which basically stands for present working directory, and it says we are in C drive users amoeba -hp. Alright, now I want to change the directory to desktop. Okay, top. Now I am in the desktop area, and here I want to open a new project folder. So I will need to make a new project folder, and before that there is a command called ls, which basically lists all of your files and folders which is there on your desktop. And if your terminal is cluttered, you can use the clear command, which is basically clears out your terminal. And now I want to create a project folder named sample. So the command for that is mkdir, which stands for make directory, and I want to name my directory as sample. Now the code has been run, and if I list all of them, so here is my newly created project folder. Alright, and now I want to go inside my project folder. For that I will need to change my directory to sample. Now after I have done that, I will need to create files in that. Let's say I want to create a text file, so I'll be using the touch command, touch test.txt, and the code is run and it is created. Let us check it out. If I list all the files again, so I will have test.txt here, and let's go check it out in the desktop right now. So here's my sample project folder, and if I go inside that, there is a text.txt file. So this is how you create files in the bash kernel. Let's say I want to delete that file. I will be using the remove command, rm, and the name of the file, test.txt. And if I list out the files under it, there are no files in the sample folder. Now that we know how to travel around or navigate around in the bash terminal, we will go ahead and start with our git commands. So the first important command is git init. So this command will generate a hidden .git directory for your project folder, and this is where Git, the version control system or the software, stores all internal tracking data for your current repository. So let me show you guys how it is done. So now I will be deleting my project folder and recreating it again, just to show you guys how to use the git init command. So I will be removing my sample folder. Now we'll have to come out of the sample directory. cd ... means go one level up. So now I'm in the desktop, and now I can finally remove the sample folder. And if I list it, and if I use the list ls command, there is no sample folder. It has successfully been deleted. Alright, now I'll be creating it again. Mkdir sample. Here's the sample folder that is created right here, and you can take a look at it in the terminal as well. And now I will use a git init command on it. So this command was successful, and the message given is initialized empty repository, empty git repository in this particular path, that is inside the sample directory. Alright, now we will be creating a text file inside this. So the command to do that is touch test.txt. Alright, now let me just navigate to the sample folder, cd sample. Now I am in the sample folder. Let me just run the git init command again, git init. So Git init was successful, and now we have initialized an empty Git repository in the sample folder. Now what this Git init command does is that it will create a .git folder, which is basically a hidden folder, and this folder contains all your data, that is all your commit data. Whatever changes you do inside this sample directory will be stored in this particular folder. Now how to look at that folder? Now if you run the list command inside the sample folder, there are no files, right? So we have to run another command, which is list minus a, which stands for all, like list out all the files and directories there is inside sample. If you type enter, now we can see a hidden folder which is a .git directory, and this directory will contain all the changes you make inside the sample folder. Alright, now let us start adding files into this sample folder. We can say touch test.txt, which is basically a text file .txt, and if I list all the files, we have the test.txt here. Now let us open the test.txt file, sample test.txt. So now you have a text file, which is basically a notepad. Now as you can observe that we have made a change, that is we have created a text file inside the sample folder, which is a change, and the .git directory will track your changes. Let us see how to do that in the next commands that we are about to learn. Next we have the Git Status Command. The Git Status Command displays the state of the working directory and the staging area. It lets you see which changes have been staged, which haven't, and which files aren't being tracked by Git. So what do you mean by the staging area? So staging area is basically a place where Git stores all of your changes before it is committed or pushed to the original .git directory. Now let us see how to do that. Now as you guys can remember, I have only created a test.txt file, and let us see the status of it right now. Git status, my bad, sorry, git status. So now it says no commits yet. We have one untracked change, which is basically I have created a new text file, which is test.txt, and it hasn't been recorded yet. Now here is where the git add command comes in. The git add command adds a change in the working directory to the staging area. That is, as you guys have seen, that the text file in the folder is not tracked right now. So if I use git add on it, it will be moved to the staging area. So it basically tells Git that you want to include updates. That is, an update here means that I have created a text file here. That is an update. And if I add anything to the text file, that is also considered as an update. Now let me show you how to add this text file to the staging area. We can use git add and then type the name of the file, which is text.txt. Now the command has successfully run, and it is ready to be committed, which is our next command. And there is one more command before this, which is not very important, but you guys can use it. So if I run the git status again, it says new file has been detected, which has been tracked, which is the text file that I've created, and it is ready to be committed. So here is where the git commit command comes into picture. Git commit basically captures a snapshot of the project's currently staged changes. Committed snapshots can be thought of as safe versions of a project. Git will never change them unless you explicitly ask it to. So now let us see the git commit command in action. We have added the text file in the staging area, and then you can use the git commit command git commit, and I'll be using a flag or an attribute here, which is basically -m. M stands for message, and I should be adding a message when I commit this to my repository. So let me say created a new file. Now that'll be too long. Created test.txt. Cool. So this is my message, which I have enclosed in double quotations, and I hit enter, and it says One file changed, 0 insertions, 0 deletions. So my commit has been successful. Now if I see the git status, it says nothing to commit. Basically, the staging area is clean. And now there is one more bonus command for you guys to see what changes have been done, which is the Git Log Command. So which basically shows the logs of your changes to your project file. So it says created test.txt, which is basically the file I created right now. And it shows other important data as well, like the time and the date and the author. You can set up your name whenever you want to. And now let's do some other changes as well. Let me just open the sample folder. Let me just open the text file that I've created. And let me just type in some string which says hello, and I'll save it, and I will close my text file. And now I will hit get status again. So I have modified my text file and it is tracking it right now. So now I will add my text file to the staging area again by using the Git Add Command, test.txt. I'll hit enter and I'll see my Git status. So it is in the staging area right now. And then I'll use the Git Commit Command to commit my modified text file, which basically says hello. Git commit -m, and I will have to provide a message, and I'll type hello message added, and the commit was successful, which basically says one file changed. There is only one file in my project right now, which is the test.txt file, and I have made one insertion. That is, I've changed one line in the text file. And now if I use the git log command, so there are two logs. The first log was for creation of the text file, and then the second log is for hello message added. Now let me go to the last command, which is git merge. Now before I go into the details and implementation of the merge command, I will have to explain you guys about branching in Git. So a branch in Git basically means that let's say you are in a scenario where you know how to add in hello message only, and your friend wants to collaborate on that, and he basically wants to make changes to your file. So he will have to work on a different branch. So as you can see here, I'm in the sample project file, and it says something called master here. Master is a default branch. So if I check my branches, so I have only one branch in my Git system, and it is master, and star means that you are presently in the master branch. I can create a new branch, and this basically means that your friend or some other developer in some country in the world wants to contribute to your code base, or in this example that I've taken, your text file, he will have to work on another branch. So let's create another branch. So git branch, let's say dev. So I'm hoping the branch was created successfully. Let us just check it out. So now there are two branches in your project, which is a repository. We call it as a repository, and we are working in the master branch right now. Let's say your friend wants to work, and you say git. You will have to use a command which basically is git checkout dev. I will have to add b, git checkout -b, which stands for branch, and I need to mention the name of the branch, which is dev. Branch name dev already exists. Okay, git checkout dev. Okay, yeah. Now I am switched to the dev branch right now. It says I am presently in the dev branch. I'm working in the dev branch right now. So which will creating a new branch basically means that you are copying your source code, all your project files, and you are giving it to another user. That is, any other developer or user can use it. So it is basically a copy or clone of your repository or your project. Now that we are working in the dev branch, let us assume that your friend has created this branch and he's working on it right now. And he also opens his the text file in his computer, and he wants to contribute to your text file. And he says, welcome to Intellipaat, and he saves it. Now he has to add this and then commit the changes. Now he will do the same thing as you did before. He'll basically add the test.txt file to the staging area. Now we will hit the git status. So my the text file is modified and it is ready to be committed. So we say git commit -m, which stands for message, and he will give a message like welcome message added, and he commits the change. So it says one file changed, 3 insertions and 1 deletion. So now if we see the git log, so this was done by you, assuming that this was done by you, and the second change, which basically was the hello message, was done by you, and your friend is working on the dev branch and he just added welcome to Intellipaat message. So all the log is maintained here. And now let's say you are happy with his contribution, you're happy with the message that he sent, and you want to integrate that into your project. Now let's say you log in on your computer. Let us switch the branch. Git checkout -b master already exists. Alright, I should not have added the -b flag here. Git checkout master. Alright, now we have shifted our working branch to master, which is our default branch. And let's say I will check my log. So it says only 2 changes, because the third change is done by your friend and it is in the dev branch, not the original branch, which is master. And now you are happy. You take a look at you wake up in the morning, you take a look at his code, and you're happy with the code or his contribution or whatever, and you say git merge. Now before that, let us take a look at the git merge command. The git merge command will combine multiple sequences of commits into a unified history. In the most frequent use cases, git merge is used to combine 2 branches. Now let me show you guys how to do that. So now we are in the master branch and we want to merge your friend's branch, which is the dev branch. So the command goes like this: git merge and the name of the branch you want to merge, which is dev. The merge was successful and it shows what changes had been done. There were 4 changes, 3 lines of codes were added and 1 was deleted. Now if we take a look at the log here in the master branch, now we have 3 logs instead of 2, right? So this says you are currently in the master branch and this particular commit, that is welcome message added, was contributed by the dev branch. And now you're in the master branch, and after the merge the updates has successfully been taken place. And now if you see the text file in your master branch, welcome to Intellipaat has been added, which was basically a contribution by your friend somewhere in the world. And this is how we collaborate on the code using the Git version control system. Thank you for watching till the end, guys. Have a nice day.
Just a quick info, guys. If you want to make a career in cloud computing, then Intellipaat provides an advanced certification on cloud and DevOps by IIT Madras. This course is taught by industry experts and IIT Madras faculty. This course is designed to upskill and land your dream job.